Hello, my little chickadees and chickadettes. How are you doing today? I hope you're wonderful. I hope you're feeling top of the pops like what I am. Today I'm going to talk about the mad world in which we live, and I'm going to talk about NPCs. What are they all about? I'll tell you all about it on the other side. So in a conversation I had with the emissaries, I said to them, how are things going, guys and gals and whatever? And they said, everything's going wonderfully well. We are having great fun watching the show. And I said, it is a show, isn't it? And they said, yes, it is. The whole world is a stage. And I said to them, yes, it is. In fact, it's really, really pissing me off because the world is becoming farcical. Like, it's always been a bit weird, the world, hasn't it? It's always been a bit strange and whatever. Now we've moved into bizarre world. If it weren't so horrible, it would be funny. And maybe, I think in retrospect, when we look back, we might have a bit of a ha 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 he 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 moment. At the moment, I don't feel like that. Sometimes I do go, oh my goodness. But most times it's like, what the actual fuck is going on? Is what I think. What is that? And why is that? The emissary said, of course that's what it's like, because everything is designed to wake people up. Everything that's happening, the whole purpose of it, the whole absolute purpose, the meaning of life is to provide enough stimulus for people to wake up. Now let me tell you about the Jehovah's Witnesses. I know I keep referring to them, but they were a fundamental part of the first 20 years of my life, and then the following 20 years of my life as they had destroyed my family. And so I use them as a reference. However, what the Jehovah's Witnesses used to say was this: the preaching work, right? Go therefore and make disciples of all the peoples of the nations of the world, and then the end will come. So their theme was, everybody has got to have had the chance to hear the word of God before the end can come. And as soon as the last door was knocked on, like, hey, we're just here to talk about God, and somebody says, fuck off, bam, as soon as that last door was closed, the end was coming. And in essence, that's what the emissaries were alluding to. That the people who haven't woken up yet have got to have as many pieces of stimulus to wake them up as they can. And that's why it's like knocking on the door, right? Yeah, rat-a-tat-tat. Is anybody in? No answer. Knock a bit louder. Rat-a-tat-tat. Is anybody in? And then finally end up taking a sledgehammer to the door just to check. That's where we are. We are there's a sledgehammer being bashed into the door. And we, these sensitive little awakened souls that we are finding it all a bit too much. We're like saying, yes, we're fully aware of what's happening. There's no need to ramp it up. There's no need to augment it. There's no need to make it 7 billion times worse than it was last year. And yet that's what's happening. Why? The emissaries say because the people who are asleep need to have that. They need to have the chance to wake up. And that's why it's getting wild. It isn't for our benefit. We don't need it. We're already awake. We're already fully aware of all of the fucking scams that are going on in this world and the horribleness. We're fully aware. But there are lots of people that aren't. Lots of people are starting to smell the toast that's burning in the toaster, but they're not quite there yet. And that's why it has to be ramped up. And so the emissary said, nothing in this world will be resolved until everybody has had enough messages. And then when they say, actually, I'm not going to wake up, thank you very much, and then it'll be resolved. They said it can't be resolved until everybody's had a chance to wake up. Right? Now, they said those people who are already awake, who are a bit pissed off. They didn't say that. I'm saying it because it's true. Like, a bit pissed off that this is just going on and on and on like a sick joke. They said, you're missing the point. You're missing the point. Looking at that and getting all upset about that and why, oh, why, oh, why. They said, get on with, they said, the way it came through, they didn't say this, but they said, stop mithering on about it and get on with the business of putting yourself right. They said, everybody who awakens has to go through that process of the inner work, sorting themselves out. They said, get on with your inner work now and get ahead of the pack. They said, get ahead of the pack so that maybe in the future you can be a guide for somebody else who needs to know, who's lost and saying, well, what do I do? And just as an aside, I think that if you want to be calmer in this time, and God knows we need to be calmer, don't we? If you want to be calmer in this time, then what you need is faith. You need faith. And I think I'm alluding to faith in a higher power, right? Some people aren't interested in that. However, I just want you to be aware that in the studies that have been done, it has been found that people with faith have a much lesser propensity for depression. People of faith have a much lesser propensity for sewage pipe. And people of faith have a higher life satisfaction and they have a greater sense of purpose. So that's the bottom line. Our inner journey, remember, our inner journey then takes us, we go in and we go, oh, look, I just realized I'm like God. And I don't mean that in an egotistical way. It's like, I'm like God because I was created by God and I'm a creator and I'm part of God. It's that journey. It's that knowing as you go inside. That's what makes us happier, generally happier. I know that my faith is something that I lean on a lot. And, without it, I don't know where I would be. I think I would be a lot less optimistic, for sure. Because without faith, when you look at what's happening, what would be the conclusion that you would come to? The conclusion would be, we're fucking doomed. We're all doomed. Yes, we are. But no, when you've got faith, you go, yes, that's not looking so good. However, I know it's going to be sorted. Faith can move mountains, so they say. So don't worry too much. Don't fret too much about what's going on. It's got to get crazy. It's got to get farcical so that other people wake up because they're very, very deeply asleep. And yes, I would like to go around and wake them up myself with a good slap across the kisser, but not my job. Not my job. I've got other fish to fry. And so, I promised you I'd talk about NPCs, our NCPs, no, NPCs, non-player characters. So I was asking the emissaries about them because it was kind of fresh in my mind because I talked to Gary about them and stuff like that. And I was feeling a bit sorry for them. Right? I was feeling a bit sad for the NPCs. I was thinking, they're here. As an aside, we asked ChatGPT about NPCs because we saw something where somebody else was talking about NPCs with ChatGPT. And it agreed with what the person said, that yes, they are there to help things to move along in the way that they should. The implication was that they were put there for good and not for bad. For good. Just like if you imagine in the video game in which we find ourselves, they're just the people that make sure that the video game runs smoothly, I suppose. And I was feeling a bit sad for them because, in essence, they're like us, aren't they? They're like us. They just don't have that connection, or that's what I imagine. So I asked the emissaries about them, and I said, do they have a soul? And they said, not in the way that you would, people who are not NPCs, not in the way that they have, not that connection with source. But they said they are part of creation. And so, in that respect, they are as much a part of creation as we are. So I said, is there salvation for them ultimately? Because I know that they're going to go when we split off, and we don't notice that we split off. It's all hidden away. But we split off and we go off on our beautiful timeline, and everything's wonderful, and everything starts getting just better. Yeah, they're going to go off on the left-hand path with the people who say, I'm doing what the government tells me, because are you a doctor? Are you a politician? What are you doing telling me? Those ones, I don't think that they're the NPCs. You know, the people who say, source please, and are you a doctor? They really annoy me. I actually think that they're people with soul, with connection and all of that. Because the NPCs are the ones who just say, I'll just do whatever. Yeah, I know what you're saying. I'll just do whatever. Yeah? They're the ones. They don't make a big deal out of it. They just follow the crowd and everything. The ones who shout the most, they're the ones, lost souls, let's say that. So they're all going to head off into the fiery bowels of Gehenna. Metaphor, but it's going to be like that. I mean, Agenda 2030 is going to be here on that timeline. They're going to have to live Agenda 2030, and that's not going to be very nice for them. We're not. We're going to live our Agenda 2030, which is going to be flowers and lights and beauty and parties where everyone's going, hey, you're right. You remember those times, eh? Oh, they were tough, weren't they? How are you feeling? I'm feeling wonderful. How are you? I'm wonderful as well. And so I was feeling a bit sorry for them. So I said, is there salvation for the NPCs? And the emissary said, yes. Yes, there is. They said, because they will have done their role, fulfilled their role, because they will have had to go through such tough times, they said that they will earn the connection again, and they will be connected to Source. So that's nice, isn't it? Because, the story of in Revelation is that Jesus does go and save them all from the fiery bowels of the devil's Gehenna, where they're all getting pricked up the bottom with a trident. So there is hope, so don't worry about it. If you think that you know a number of NPCs and you feel, oh, what a shame that they're going to go there and get prodded, they'll be okay. In the long run, they'll be okay. They'll earn the stripes. That's what the emissary said. They'll earn the stripes, and then they'll become added to the many, 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 many millions and billions and trillions of souls, even if that's the way that they count souls, and they'll come and join us. Meanwhile, here on Clown Planet, everything is going to shite. However, that's what it's meant to be. It's on purpose, and we are here to witness. We're here to witness and also to do the inner work, to be true to ourselves. That's the whole purpose of being here. Just to be true to yourself, to find out who the heck you are, and then be that, fully and completely, in every beautiful way. I love you all, and I'll speak to you all later. Put in the comments what you think. How are you coping with Clown Planet? I love you all.